Hello everyone, I'm Chris, the lead game designer and developer at 19 Stone Ninjas, and I thought I'd give anyone interested a heads up on how the development of Subnet is coming along. Subnet is our upcoming parkour, stealth and hacking game that we'll be releasing for PC sometime in the future. This video is primarily aimed at developers and designers who might be interested in collaborating with us to help get Subnet out of the door. I've had quite a lot of interest on forums, via the website, via email, so this video should serve to answer many of the questions that have been asked so far. This isn't a trailer or a tech demo. The reality is that we're still planning the game, and at the moment there isn't much in the way of graphics, gameplay or story. There is a story written, there's a lot of documentation, but it's not in the actual game. The proof of concept I'm just about to take you through, it's slowly morphing into production. Though I have to point out that much of what you'll see will change in the final version, or it will be considerably more polished than it looks at the moment. For example, there's no animation, there's no there's limited animation, there's no levels, it's basically just a sandbox. The game world that you'll see it's not an accurate representation of the game at all. It's just a basic sandbox that I'm using to test the various game mechanics I've been building, and it'll basically be thrown away when we start to put art into the game. So let's get on to it. So first of all, the game is developed in Unity 3D. So, and you can see from this little view here that there's not much in it. There's not much in the game, rather, not Unity. Yeah, so what we've got is some very basic functional objects at the moment. There's nothing that looks nice. I mean, these platforms are here for testing out the parkour. This over here is used for just testing out the wall running. We've got a breakable window here that is you can see through the back of it at the moment, but that's just because the mesh has been created by me, and I'm terrible at doing meshes. We've got some collectible objects, a breakable crate, and then we've got the network devices. You see there's a terminal here, which is it's just basically a computer. At the moment this is set up and configured to access and control every single other network device in the game at the moment, just for testing purposes. That wouldn't normally happen in a game. You'd usually have you'd have some kind of puzzle going on where you'd have to enable one device before you can get through another one, and you can get into a secret room or something, and that secret room has a control panel that allows you to open a door on the other side of the building or something. We haven't really come up with that aspect yet, but there is potentially unlimited possibility with even the simple stuff that we've got in here at the moment. You've got a camera, and the camera moves back and forth very much like a camera you'd see in Metal Gear Solid or Deus Ex and many other games. At the moment it will detect the player and it will point at the player when they're within the corner vision. There's an alarm which just has a light on it and emits a sound at the moment. It's pretty horrifying right now, the sound that I've got on there, but it works. And then we've got doors and control panels. Control panels at the moment are configured to just access the doors, and the doors, there's so many of them as you can see that don't really lead anywhere, but they're all configured to open in different ways. That's why there are so many of them. So yeah, I think in terms of a quick overview, that's basically what we've got. Oh yeah, we've also got a guard here, which as you can see is just a cylinder at the moment, but a capsule at the moment rather. But yeah, that's at the moment if we've got an enemy sight script on him, then he looks at you and he detects you, but that's about it. There's nothing else. He doesn't move around or anything like that yet. So yeah, it's probably better if I just nip into the game now and I show you the network devices one by one, just show you what they're capable of, etc. We'll go from there. Let's just maximise the screen while we're on it. Right then, so as you can see, anyone who's familiar with it, I'm using a purchased component for the FPS stuff called UFPS, Ultimate FPS. It's done by a guy who calls himself Vision Punk, and he's I'm sure you've seen it before. It's brilliant though, but it's very cheap, and it saves a lot of development time. It allows you to configure states and all kinds of things for. It allows you to configure states, all kinds of things for FPS stuff. I mean, there's allows you so you can configure it so you've got a weapon camera and it doesn't fly through the screen. You can. There's already a hit scan bullet in there for firing. It's unlikely this game will have many projectile weapons as it stands, but we'll see about that. We're still planning. Yeah, so let's get onto the network devices. So what we've got, I'll show you the ones that I can just walk into and immediately show you some results. So this one's a camera, obviously. If I walk into the corner vision, it starts making that horrible sound. As soon as I get out of it, it will reset itself and go back to scanning. So the idea obviously is to not get caught by this stuff and sneak past them, sneak around them, etc. Again, this is for testing the lighting, etc. So we've got make sure that these it's all dynamic, etc. You probably noticed as well we've got a sun going around at the moment. We've got a day-night cycle, and we've got some clouds. The clouds are particle clouds at the moment, and if we come out here, you can see the kind of end at some point over there. Now, at the moment, it's got a regenerating regenerating particle box. So when they get, they move at the moment based on a wind factor, and when they get to the end of one, they will just end of the box rather over here. They'll just regenerate over here. So for now that works nicely, but it needs a bit of extra work. As you can see, they're suddenly appearing sometimes and they look a bit funny. Anyway, back onto the network devices. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Right, so yeah, you've seen the camera. That's the idea of that, is so maybe a guard can be called, or you can lock the room if a camera gets triggered or anything like that. I mean, that has, again, it's got configurable waypoints, so you could have it so it's a 360 camera, or you can have it so it has 5 different places that it stops, so you can just have it so it's static, so it doesn't move at all. So there's a lot of options there when we're designing the actual levels. This here is a alarm, or a circle, or a cylinder rather. Not a cylinder, a sphere, sorry. And that's just configured at the moment to set off when either it's turned on by this control panel here, or I try and get through this door. Now, at the moment, as you can probably see, if I go to here, now if you look in the bottom left, we've got red control panel 001, devices disabled, aborting. That's just a debug message for me, but it just basically means that I can't use that. So there's no options there. Same goes with the door as well. That's saying it's not being configured as an interactive door, whereas if you go to a door over here, for example, and I press E, it will then give me my menu for opening and locking. Obviously, when you're opening and closing, locking doors, etc., what we want have a menu that pops up. What you see there is just as you see, a debug console. So it just makes things a bit easier for me for now until we get the interface on there. But yeah, so we go here. So the puzzle, a typical puzzle in the game would be something like, a primitive puzzle would be, this doesn't work, I can't get in via here. Fair enough, right now I can jump over the door or go around, but when in the actual game it'll be a bit more complex than that and a bit better design. But yeah, basically this will be turned on by another device somewhere, somehow. So if we come into this,
system starting up,
turn on the actual computer itself, at the moment there's no transition from there to the remote menu. Each device has a remote and local menu. Local menus for things like, for example, on this, if we go to local, it's turn off, obviously, list emails and list files. I mean, at the moment, list email and list files does nothing at all. You see, that just tells me that it's listed the files, listed the emails rather, but it doesn't. There's no relevance to that right now. You see that iPod that just popped up as well, as I was faffing around with a remote hackable device. It probably isn't going to get used now, but we'll see. It was just a placeholder image. Anyway, so when you come back into it, and there's a local remote menu. The remote menu allows you to control devices that are attached to this. So we go into the remote menu and we say alarm 01 is connected. Control panel 01 is also connected. So let's do it the way we would probably do it in the game. And then we go to 3, control panel, and we turn it on. So we now have, this should now be enabled. So if I try and use it, it's turned green, and it allows me to unlock the door, because it's only got one device that it controls. So it immediately tells me to, it gives me the commands of the device that it's controlling, because you can't do anything with the control panel on its own. It can't be turned on or off on its own. It has to be turned off remotely. So we just unlock it, and now we open the door, and this is where we'll get the horrible alarm sound, because it's configured to do that. Now in the game you might want to shoot it. At the moment you can't do anything, there's nothing there. You might want to disable it. I'll tell you one thing, it gets annoying after about 5 seconds, and so I'll just turn it off via this for now. So I'll just turn it off like that for now, and that might call guards again, it might do anything. It's all completely configurable via the interface, and programmatically as well. That's the important part. I could essentially generate a level and generate a load of different devices and apply completely random rules to them with some kind of algorithm. So I could essentially, we could essentially programmatically generate the entire world if we put the effort into that. A lot more work into it than just that, but yeah, there's these are all easily configurable. Now this here is it's an airlock. At the moment, it's unlikely an airlock will be in the game, but it was a very good example of what can be done with the networking devices rules. So at the moment this control panel is configured to open this door. I'll tell you what's supposed to happen before it happens. This door will open. Takes 3 seconds for this door to open. After 3 seconds, this door itself is configured to send a command to itself. So these are called relay commands. This command will be close, so it'll take 3 seconds for the door to close again, and then after 6 seconds effectively, so from the initial command, after 6 seconds it will issue a command to that door over there, the one in the background, to open again. So this door will be closed before that door opens. It's cutting it very, very fine, but it works. Now if I show you basically what's going on, so we unlock the door and open it. That was 3 seconds. And then this one opens. So this is all done programmatically. And when I come through here, I just went over a pressure plate that's around here somewhere, and that klaxon that you heard, and that noise you just heard there, they're all configured depending on what's allowed to be done on each device. So the klaxon is just you have stood in it, and that error noise is, sorry, we can't close the door because it's already closed. So that's basically where that's up to. Now I think I just showed you this one, but if we open the door, you see each of the doors open differently. These ones over here, they open sideways. This one here opens outwards. Now if we stood here, it's outwards on its left hinge, and it closes inwards on its left hinge. This one's already open. All doors are configured in their closed state, but at runtime it determines what's configured in the editor basically and what should be open or closed. This is open towards on the right hinge, I believe. So if we close that door, it will close on the right hinge again. This one's opening upwards and closing downwards, I think. It's a lot more complicated than I'm making it look. The actual coding behind it was it's quite mind-bending, trying to get the right extents of the box, etc. These ones I think are, yeah, this is towards on the left hinge, which is opening at 90 degrees. If you look at this one here, we've got, it's opening at about 85 or something like that. And then this one is a really, really, really slow opening door. See, it's clipping through there at the moment, but you get the general idea. It's configured to open on that hinge, and that's it. Now there was a bit of an error, a bit of a noise issue there because I haven't configured one of the particular sound properties, which is a repeat sound property for the door itself. So yeah, essentially that doesn't look like there's a lot there, but there is a lot of coding that's went into all of it. Everything can be controlled by everything else if you want to configure it. Basically everything is there's an unlimited potential. It's very easy for me to add a new network device type, or there's unlimited potential for different scenarios and different puzzles in the game and different hacking scenarios, etc. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it as it is. It doesn't look very pretty. I'm just using some of the UFPS textures, I think, at the moment, but yeah, it does the job. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Now let's. I might as well just show you the quick things. We've got 2 breakable objects here. This is a UFPS crate. I've just basically used the one that's provided in the thing for now, but obviously we'll retexture all of this, and I don't even know if we'll have crates yet in the game, but it depends on how the world is designed. Currently got a concept artist working on the first environmental scene. I'm quite excited about that, but yeah, there's some concept art on the website of the character, and yeah, I've got a guy working on the models for the character, and yeah, so it's looking good. It's looking good. So anyway, the breakable objects. This is just a particle effect breakable window. Keeps regenerating, as you see, but it's not brilliant. It's not brilliant, but I think it's good enough for what it is. It's not ideal, but I mean, I could do a lot more, like location damage and stuff, but I think at the moment it's more. Oh, you see the moon rising in the background there as well. I've got I'll go through that in a bit more detail later on, but yeah, basically you've got a full day-night cycle. You see the date in the top right-hand side as well, overlaying a mini map that's in the middle of being developed. So yeah, we've got the breakable objects here. That's just a UFPS one, but on top of that as well, we've got a little enemy site script, so he can see where I am. Again, doesn't look very. It looks rude actually, but it doesn't look very complicated. But it's just telling the rest of the enemies where I will be if something goes off, or if he sees me or anything like that. Here we've got at the moment what I've referred to as nano darts and a plasma cutter. Now at the moment I'm just using the gun model just so we can see them. So we've got 2 plasma cutters. We've got 10 biomodified nano darts and 100 biomodified nano darts. Again, these probably aren't going to exist in the actual game, but this is just the general inventory system. What I've done is, I think at the moment it's limited to 100 darts that you can carry, the inventory system. There's no UI or anything like that, so I can't show you that, but I can show you it kind of working properly, or how it should. So I haven't got a plasma cutter at the moment, even though it looks like I have in my hand because it's the same model, but a plasma cutter doesn't exist in my inventory, so I can pick that up. I can pick either of these up. So I picked that up, but now I can't pick that up because I've already got one, etc. Now this has got 10 and 100. If I picked up the 100, I wouldn't be able to pick up the 10, so I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to pick up the 10, which disappears, and then I'm going to pick this up and it should hopefully change to 10. Yep. So we've got 10 left in that in that collectible, so when I use another 10 darts I can come back and get them. Hopefully all this will be persistent throughout the game. The idea is to have some kind of hub gameplay, so you're very much like a Deus Ex type thing. You're running around in one central area, but there's lots of things to do and there's lots of places to visit, and hopefully, if things go okay, we'll hopefully have every single house will be available and open to you to go in and hack around, break and enter, etc. Right, so yeah, I'll just briefly talk about the day-night cycle. I've had a lot of help from various tutorials, and I think there's quite a few on YouTube telling you how to do what. I've had to expand it and make it look a bit nicer for my stuff, or a bit different rather. Right, so as you see, the skybox blends in and out. It's not perfect as it stands, and we've got a sun that rotates 360 degrees. Now you'll see it's at a slight angle, the rotation at the moment, because we've been going for nearly a month now, this game, since we started playing it this time round. I think I started on about the 1st of July or something like that, so maybe a couple of months. But yeah, so every day that goes past, it's moving down in the sky very, very slightly. When it gets to the 21st of December on the clock, it will be pretty much horizontal. We'll have the sun effectively doing this around here. I should be going underneath, but it'll be doing that. I can show you in a bit more detail. It's a bit disorientating because of the light. When I speed the game up, the light's a bit funny. It flashes back and forth, so you can't really see it. I'm trying to find the moon now, because the moon at the moment it follows the sun, but it's still visible during the day, because I've done quite a lot of research on how a moon works, and without going into a great amount of detail, it's essentially a normal moon, but it's got phases on it. So you see a full moon, you'll see a half moon, etc. There's too many clouds really for me to show you right now, but basically the moon, it's something that you'll rarely look at, but it will move with the sun. It will rotate up in the sky depending on the solstice of the month, or depending on the summer and the winter solstices rather, so what month it is. The clouds, I'm going to stop them from appearing like they are at the moment, and just leave them so they're infinite once you've created a cloud. But yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. I'm more excited about the sky than players will be, I think, but it's only because it took me so long to get all the calculations working properly and getting it looking at least decent. Right, so the last thing to show you is the parkour. Now, this isn't as impressive in my mind, but because there's no animation at the moment, so basically we're jumping up and down and we're running along walls without any noise or animation, so it's sounding very yeah, it's not brilliant, but it does the job, and you can at least see the idea. So yeah, so I'm just going to do some ledge grabs for now. Again, not very exciting when you look at it this way, but we have yeah, so yeah, you can jump up and down and etc. We've also got, it's not very obvious at the moment, again because there's no animation, but there's a power slide. Now I think there's a bit of a bug with this at the moment, but I'm going to attempt to show you it anyway. Previously you've just fall through the floor if you get it wrong, but so here we go. So I'm in parkour mode, and that's the wrong button. So that was essentially prone. At the moment it's very, very slow and I need to do something about it, but I think the animation will help us with that. So you can get under these really small platforms, and you can't stand back up again obviously, so you have to get out now. Okay, so let's do that slide again. So it's crouch when we're running. If we crouch, and that slides, it doesn't look like it is, but it's sliding, and then it puts you in prone mode as well if you can't stand up, etc. So the last thing to show you, there is a vault command essentially, or should I say, if you run towards something that you can vault over or is the right height, so I think it's around 1 meter at the moment, it will vault over it. It's not great, doesn't look great. Again, animation will help with that. We'll slow it down a little bit, but it does chuck you in the right direction. Now, one other thing is we have wall run left, right, and we have forward wall run. So I don't think I can really show you so you can appreciate the forward wall run at the moment, because there's not really any platforms that, and maybe the doors, I can show you one over a door, but yeah, left and right at the moment the camera angles are all wrong, but it's getting the idea. So that now allows us to just do a bit of a wall run. It looks a bit funny at the moment. I'm going to need to put a bit more effort into this, I think. The idea eventually will be that you can wall run and jump from side to side, so you'll be doing that kind of thing, and you'll also be able to run up a wall, press another button, and it will turn you around and chuck you towards this. It's a Mirror's Edge influence type thing, but it's not going to be as elaborate, the parkour, as it is in Mirror's Edge. We don't need the speeding up and slowing down. I want to kind of keep I don't want to stop someone's flow just because they hit something by accident. You know, I'd rather it was more fun than realistic when it comes to the parkour. So yeah, the only other thing is the forward wall run. Now this is what this does is it will chuck you up a wall and it'll grab a ledge. They're a bit too high at the moment, but these should work. So I'm on top of the wall. There we go. So that's the same again. So essentially I've just shown you the last 6 months of my life. Yeah, so that's about it for the game itself. So we've also set up a number of documents that basically help us design the game as well. Not as interesting as the game itself, but basically we've got a really quite detailed background and history document for the world itself. There's a description on the website if anyone's interested. It's just a summary, but this is quite a few pages long. Executive overview, that's the story itself. I've got about 11 scenes written. I'm not concentrating on it as much at the moment because I think essentially we want to try and get the actual gameplay in place before I really focus on a story, to see if we can actually get, we have the time and resources to do a story and do cutscenes and get scripts, get voiceover actors and that kind of stuff. It's quite a lot of work involved in putting a story in a game. The game mechanics document, that is, as it says, it describes all of the game mechanics, such as how NPCs interact with each other, how there's quite a few things in there that haven't been demonstrated in the game, such as there's going to be a kind of a stakeout mode for Byron, the main character. He's going to be able to basically watch someone, watch an NPC in their home or whatever, or at work, follow them home, get information from them, maybe find out, get a key card or something for the place to work, and then use that key card to get into a building. Yeah, you can, depending on how much time we've got, depends entirely on what kind of features we include in there. But yeah, the game mechanics just covers all that kind of stuff, and how the parkour works, and what kind of moves will be available. There will be a few more, I imagine, than I've just demonstrated. The hacking design itself is a separate document because it's quite detailed. There's a lot of rules surrounding how likely it is you are to hack a device. At the moment, it's just a menu system, but what the intention is to have a UI overlay. The UI is just like a mini game of some sorts. It's some kind of maybe a network diagram, or I haven't really come up with it fully yet. I've started designing it, but it's not fully thought out yet. And the hacking, and you'll be able to hack various devices. So you can, for example, you might want to, when it's set up, when the network's set up in a house, for example, you might want to hack a computer, and there'll be a firewall. It's more likely to be in an office, but yeah, hack a computer. There might be a firewall in between that and the door, and that increases the security rating of the door. So there's a lot more complexity to the hacking than I've showed you. The UI will make that clearer. I'm actually working on that at the moment. That's the next thing that I'm going to be looking at, finding out which UI tools are best, and speaking to the designers about getting a UI artwork, getting UI artwork put together. So yeah, the other documents, we've got the inventory design. Inventory is it's mostly implemented. It's a weighted inventory system. I haven't put any of the UI together. You can't interact with it, but as I showed you before, there's with the collectibles on the desk, they will essentially be added to your inventory. Well, they are added to your inventory at the moment, and then you'll be able to see it. There'll be some kind of, again, UI that we come up with. Again, all of this stuff is pending. We're currently looking at the design. The main character bios is just somewhere we keep a track of all of the character information. We're toying with the idea of having every single NPC targetable, so you can hack their ethos and get personal information from them, sell it on the black market or something like that. It all depends on, again, how much time we've got as to how much data we can produce for the game. How many, if there's 100 NPCs in a scene, for example, there might need to be we need to come up with 100 unique profiles for that individual person. So it's a bit more complicated than that. But yeah, this is just a place we can keep things together for the designers at the moment, so they can look at weights and heights, eye colour, things like that, which are all incorporated into the story, etc. And the prop design again doesn't contain very much at the moment, but that will be details for designers surrounding all the little props, all the devices, all the collectibles, all the breakable objects, everything like that. Synopsis and ideas is just a very old document that I initially put together. It was just it's one big massive document with loads of information in it. I can give people obviously access to this if necessary. So that's Subnet as it stands. There's obviously a fair amount that I haven't shown you that's involved in the game. I mean, all those documents are quite detailed. There's a lot of extra information, a lot of extra things that we want to put into it. The world itself is fairly solid. We know what we want to achieve with it, so it's just a case of designing it and getting it into production, basically. So yeah, that's where we're up to, and thanks for listening to me ramble on for the last half an hour.